Starting pitcher Landon Knack joins the show. That's coming up next on Dodgers Dugout Live.
It's time for Dodger baseball.
Welcome to Dodger Stadium.
Dodgers win!
This is the golden age of Dodger baseball.
Grand slam! It's a double for Freddie.
They're going to make big signings. They're going to make impact trades. This is the most anticipated season in Dodgers history.
Dodgers have won it all in 2020.
Think blue, bleed blue, and I'm out. What is up, Dodgers Nation, and welcome to another episode of Dodgers Dugout Live, the #1 Dodgers show and podcast on YouTube. My name is Doug McKain, credentialed member of Dodgers Media. You can follow me on X and Instagram at DMac_LA. If you haven't yet, be sure to subscribe to the channel, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell, hit that like button. But I'm excited to get right to it. Today we are joined by a special guest, Dodgers rookie pitcher, Mr. Landon Knack. Landon, thank you so much for the time, my man.
Yeah, excited to hop on, man.
Landon, so what a year for you, man. I mean, you get engaged in January. You make your big league start, your rookie debut. What were you more nervous for? The engagement, the proposal, or your first start in the bigs?
Honestly, the proposal, I'm not going to lie. I don't know why. Like, I knew she was going to say yes, but that day, that entire lead up to that was just terrifying. But, like, obviously, like, just pitching, getting up there for my debut, like, obviously, it's like a little nerve-wracking because that's like what you're shooting for your entire life, and that's like kind of been everything you dream of. But like, it's at the end of the day, it was still baseball.
Yeah, let's just hope that she gets a ring this year. You get a ring. Everyone's getting rings this year because your Dodgers in great shape. Now, definitely want to start with last night because you and Yoshinobu Yamamoto, both rookies for this team. You both pitched in his rehab start a couple of weeks ago. I mean, he was electric last night. He had 11 whiffs, 8 strikeouts. Just what did you see from him, and what was so impressive about his start?
Yeah, you could just tell, like, as soon as he got out there, like, it was just like a switch flipped and he was just locked in immediately. Like, the command of the curveball, especially, that was like one thing he just didn't quite have locked in down in AAA yet before he came up. And him having that, the splitter, everything was really just kind of locked in from the get-go. And he was showing that like 80 grade command like immediately.
Yeah, and I remember talking to you during FanFest, and you were talking about being excited to meet Shohei, being excited to meet Yamamoto. Now that you have, just kind of what is Yamamoto and Ohtani like, just being in that clubhouse surrounded by those guys?
Yeah, they're just dudes, man. Like, they're really good people, like just fun to be around, like good personality guys. And Yoshi, as the year has gone on, has really learned a lot of English, and so he's like been able to communicate more and more with us, even when Hero's not around. And like, yeah, no, they're fun to be around, man.
That's really cool, and you can just feel the camaraderie there in that clubhouse, all you guys. And really just want to talk about your season, though, because, like I said, I mean, that rookie start that you had, you pull up in the Rolls-Royce, $388,000 car, a really nice start. I remember talking to you after the game, and you told me that your welcome to the show moment was just seeing Dodger Stadium, all those decks, but then it was like baseball's baseball. You got to go out and just get hitters out, and you've been doing that all season long. This year, 54 innings pitched, a 3 ERA. How would you just assess your overall rookie season so far, Landon?
I mean, yeah, obviously I've been very happy with it. I think as the year has kind of gone on, we've kind of gotten more and more comfortable every time we're up here, and then like the throw itself has gotten locked in. We've had to do a little bit of work to just try to get the throw back where we wanted it to be, because early season, like, I was doing enough to be able to get outs, but the throw itself is just slightly off. And then the last, especially like month or so, is probably the best I have felt. And so things have been feeling really good. Like, I've been very, very happy with it, and hopefully keep building on it.
Yeah, I don't want to say it's easy, but you're kind of making it look easy for a rookie, just going out there and dealing with the options, right? You're going up and down, and you're not bothered by that. Just what has been the mindset of just dealing with that process? We saw Pepio deal with it. I mean, the Mitch White rule, right? Just how was the mindset going from pitching at Dodger Stadium to then going down to AAA, still having success, but just how have you dealt with that this season, been able to achieve so much?
Yeah, I mean, it's like, it's just trying to continue to stay consistent with things. Like, yeah, obviously, like the whole energy of everything when you go down to a AAA ballpark is not quite the same as 50,000 people at Dodger Stadium. And so it's just trying to continue to work on what you need to continue to show what you have and showcase everything every time you step out there, and just try to be as consistent as possible with things. Because it's hard not to like listen to the outside noise of things and get focused on where you'd rather be. But the best way to be where you'd rather be is just to continue to work on your things the same way once you go down. And so it's just trying to stay consistent.
Yeah, I was going to ask you that. I mean, as far as when you have a start at the big league level, you have some success, but there are things that you want to work on. Do you kind of tinker with the pitch mix, with the attack plan a little bit, knowing that, hey, it's a minor league start. It's not for a division race at the big league level, a World Series run. I mean, do you kind of change things up at all, or is it the same pitch mix, the same attack plan in the show versus when you're down the minors?
We try to keep it as close as possible, especially like I will say, I mean, like if when I go down, sometimes if there's like one pitch we want to get a little bit more of, we might try to feature that a little bit more in one of those outings. Like especially like me for a bit, it was like trying to get the curveball going when I went down there. And so like every now and then it'll be maybe something like that. But overall, a pretty similar mix.
Yeah, and if you look at your last start, I mean, you saw the strikeouts. You go 6 innings, 8 punch-outs there against the Guardians. This season, the strikeouts have been slightly above average. You have had a lot of success pitching to contact, but just where are you at from that right now? Are you trying to have it as a goal to get more strikeouts, get more swing and miss, or just go out there and be more efficient, get hitters out, and just get the job done at the end of the day?
Really, right now, it's just trying to be more efficient. Yeah, no, I think I've had just a lot of long at bats early on in some of these outings for me where it's almost like I'm trying to get to put out like the strikeout pitch too quick. And then instead of just really just like trusting my stuff in the zone. And so like the last couple outings, it's been more like just trying to like stay in there, just stay in attack mode. And so just trying to be as efficient as possible and just letting the strikeouts come.
And as far as just the pitch mix in general, you've always been someone that has had a wide array of pitches that you could go to, but how important has that slider been for you just to have some east and west just to kind of keep hitters off balance?
Yeah, the slider is probably one of the biggest pieces for me just because it's the one that overall I can throw for a strike the most. Like it's the pitch I've always had the best feel for. We've kind of made some adjustments with it as the year has gone on. It's kind of turned into a little bit of a different pitch where early season it was a little bit more like kind of like verty slider-ish. And then lately we've been trying to basically make it more like depthy. And so just like making small adjustments with it. But like that pitch for sure, like when that thing is going, like it opens up everything else because if I can land that off-speed pitch and then put it below for strikeouts, like everything else kind of opens.
Yeah, absolutely. And then the change of the curveball. I mean, your pitch, because it's so fun to watch you pitch. I mean, you talk about the X-Dog, right? Just kind of to go out there and compete and getting hitters out after you get a big strikeout, that little kind of strut you do right there. I mean, how much of it is just like, hey, yeah, I'm going to give you my best pitch and I'm going to go compete. I'm going to try to get hitters out. I mean, at the end of the day, how important is just the mindset of getting hitters out like that?
It's the most important thing, honestly. It's so much of the game once you get to this level is mental. Like, I mean, they say that it's like 90% of the game is mental because everybody, when you get to this level, has the tools. And so it's really just like having that mindset of just like attacking guys and like kind of like showing your best stuff all the time like that. That is really what makes the difference in people.
Yeah, no, it's great to watch you. And then Dave Roberts said a couple days ago, he said you were a star. He told us that you've done everything they've hoped for, and you've done it all year, given the uncertain circumstances, being up and down. He's really sung your praises. Just what does that mean to hear your manager say that about you?
I mean, it just gives you confidence. Obviously, hearing that from Dave, like, he's been such a good like mentor and guy to talk to and like try to like push me towards things and motivate me as the year has gone on. So kind of hearing a little bit of that confidence that he sees what we've been doing and is very confident in me moving forward. Like, yeah, it just makes you feel really good.
Yeah, I try to tell people on this show, the Dave Roberts you see at the podium is very different than the Dave Roberts you see in spring training when he's trying to light a fire under his guys. I remember the story about Dave Roberts and how it kind of took your game to the next level. How much credit do you give Dave Roberts for that? If you can just kind of tell that story a little bit once again.
Yeah, honestly, I give him a lot of credit for that because, yeah, no, going into that 23 spring training, I was always a guy who just knew how to pitch, but the velo obviously had been kind of up and down and some other things. And then I had one outing against the Reds last spring training, I think, at their place, and I gave up a home run early on in an inning on like a 91-mile-an-hour fastball. Immediately got pissed off, and my next fastball I think was 95 and then 96 like right after. And so it was basically after he watched that, he just in the next meeting that I had with him like the next day, he kind of sat me down and was like, hey man, like you have all the tools. Like the only thing I want to see from you is just to find that grit, find that to be able to just like flip a switch and just be a dog when you go out there. He's like, you're a very clean shaven guy. Like you got to have some sort of edge to push you over the top. And I want you to just find that every time. Because if you throw like pissed off you, like you just threw, that's a completely different player. And so I just kind of tried to take that to heart as much as I could as the year went on, and kind of was able to find a way to just kind of get a little ticked off every time I go out there. And it made a huge difference for me as the year went on.
Yeah, that's what I always say. I mean, don't let the smile, don't let the clean shaven look of Landon Knack fool you. I mean, this guy's nasty. This guy's a dog out there. But would you say it's easier for you to channel that now? And do you have to constantly kind of remind yourself on the mound, or is that just kind of a part of who you are at this point?
It's just kind of part of who I am now. Yeah, no, I at first I was constantly having to remind myself or find something extra, like find some little motivation, anything I could think of to like any sort of slight, just something to use as motivation. And at this point, I think when I go out there, I just kind of am able to just immediately find that as soon as I step out.
Absolutely. Now, as far as where you're at right now, of course, you're going to do anything you can to help this team. You've been a part of this organization for years now, but I mean, with the injuries, I mean, there is a path to you getting a postseason start, that you have an impact for this team in October. Now, of course, you want everyone to be healthy. You want everyone to get their opportunities, but do you almost have to have that mindset saying, I want to be that guy that is going to get the start, get the ball in a big postseason game? Do you kind of have to have that now?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, that you dream of being on a championship team, and being able to go out there and pitch meaningful innings and be able to contribute towards that. And yeah, of course, obviously, I have kind of that want and mindset to be able to go out there and pitch in the postseason. And so, just kind of whatever the opportunity happens, whatever happens as we get closer to this thing, I mean, obviously, we'll be ready.
So, what would you say your goal is for the rest of the season?
For the rest of the season, it's really just continue to do what we've been doing, continue to be consistent with things, and keep everything locked in, and just continue to try to put us in a position to win games and take advantage of every opportunity that's before me.
Absolutely. And as far as navigating your way through your rookie season, I remember we talked to you during FanFest. You were talking to us about your diet and limiting sugar and kind of changing things up. Have you been able to maintain that, and how big of a part of your success is that?
Yeah, no, of course, we've kind of stuck with that as much as we could. Obviously, as you're traveling around as much as we do, like you're going to have some bad stuff here and there. But overall, yeah, you just try to stay as consistent with that as you can. And so, yeah, still trying to avoid gluten as much as we can, still avoiding like the sweets and stuff, still doing the smart sweets instead, just to still get a little bit of that fix. And I still think that's been a huge piece of why we've been able to maintain this year and stay as strong as we have, is because we've been very consistent with kind of the entire routine and regimen of things. And
as far as just the workload through this season, how does your body feel physically at this point of the season?
I actually feel amazing. I think over the last month, my velo has actually been ticking up as we've been getting into this. And so, this is actually probably the best I have felt all year, really, is getting to this point right now. So yeah, no, we're feeling really strong going into this. Yeah, the body's feeling good. By the way, I after you told us about the sugar, I went home and I like cleared out like half my pantry and like 90% of my fridge, man. You definitely inspired. I still have some peanut butter M&Ms every now and then, but definitely changed it up because of that. So that's definitely good to see. But Landon, we're gonna switch gears a little bit, do some quick hitter stuff. You got to go to the ballpark really soon, and let me talk about the Rolls Royce. I want to know, what was your first car, Landon? My first car was just it was a 2006 Ford Explorer Sport Trek, the like little small Ford truck, little pickup guy. So you go from that to the Rolls Royce, man. They let you keep that Rolls Royce, or what's up, man? No, that was just my agency kind of did a cool thing for me, where they reached out to me and they said that they wanted to make a video of the lead up to my debut, and then as they kind of pitched that idea, they then said, hey, like, we have this company that wants to send a Rolls Royce to pick you up in. Like, would you be interested in that? I'm like, obviously, yeah, that's sick as heck. Like a Rolls Royce to come pick you up for your debut. That's like something you're gonna remember. And so, it was a cool thing my agency just set up for me. Yeah, that was awesome. Now, favorite baseball movie? Favorite baseball movies? Sandlot. Got to go with the Sandlot, man. Classic, man. But the question is, why didn't they just go knock on his door? If they knocked on his door, the movie's over in 10 minutes. Just terrified. It's every story you ever heard, man. Exactly. They end up with a better ball in the end too. They got the Murderers Row Yankees autograph ball in the end, so it worked out in the end. Favorite pitcher to watch around the league right now? right now.
It's not a Dodger.
That's not a Dodger.
Yeah.
Okay. Honestly, I think I tune into almost every Skeens outing right now just because the stuff is so electric and it's just so impressive to me, the pitchability along with that stuff, to where like he's actually like commanding everything he's got. He's like very consistent with things and kind of moves around and switches speeds a lot while having 100 in the back pocket. And so, yeah, I think he's probably the guy I tune into the most outings.
Yeah, and how much more do you relate to that just because you're in the show and you know the kind of hitters he's facing?
Yeah, it impresses you so much more as soon as you kind of like put all that in. Like you see the guys he's facing and what he's doing. Like it's just so impressive.
Yeah, I've been saying that the Dodgers are going to get their Paul Skeens next year with Roki Sasaki. So just throwing it out there. I don't know if you know much about that guy, if he's on your radar, but who knows? Maybe he could be a Dodger. Okay, so you could strike out any batter, past or present. Who is it?
Barry Bonds. Striking out Barry Bonds would be like for sure just like something you would remember for the rest of your life. That dude was just so impressively consistent with his entire career. Obviously there's controversy and everything with him, but like just how good he was, yeah, that would be like amazing.
Yeah, no, Dodgers fans already love you, but great answer, Barry Bonds. Dodgers fans will love a Barry Bonds strikeout. They might like a Barry Bonds plunking, even though he had all the armor on, so it wouldn't affect him. But yeah, good stuff right there. So if you were not a baseball player, what would you be doing? I think you were an accounting major, I believe, right? But
yeah, I'm glad I don't have to do that, to be completely honest with you. Yeah, I don't think I would have enjoyed accounting very much.
Now you have a team that does it for you, right? Yeah.
Exactly. I only have somebody for that. I took tax accounting in college and I realized I would never want to do that. That was, tax accounting itself is just so boring. But if I wasn't a baseball player, I don't know. I mean, honestly, like if I wasn't a player, I'd probably just coach. Like I know whenever I am done and I hang it up, like I'll definitely go into coaching at that point. So, I mean,
love it. Hey, baseball's in the blood, man. You can't get it out of your system. You gotta love that. So what is your favorite thing to do on a Dodgers off day?
On a Dodger off day, honestly, going out to the beach out here with the fiance and the pup. The pup doesn't really like the beach that much, but he'll still go have some fun with it. So
you gotta what's the dog's name?
Ollie.
Ollie?
Yeah, little
nice.
corgi puppy.
Little corgi? Hey, Decoy. Hey, Decoy and Ollie, two famous Dodger dogs, man. Love it. You gotta have a little play day with Decoy right there. Okay, so
Talk about it.
yeah, it's gonna be good times. So last one, if I get your Mount Rushmore of baseball pitchers, your top 4 favorite pitchers of all time.
Of all time. Let's see. All time I put Bob Gibson, Nolan Ryan, Clayton Kershaw, and who would I want to put in that 4th spot? Probably Greg Maddux.
Incredible list. Love that list, but I know you got to go, so I don't want to hold you too much longer. So thank you so much, Landon Knack. Congrats on all your success this season. We look for more quality starts from you. Maybe we see you in the postseason, but we'll check in with you in the offseason, my man. But have a great rest of your year, dude.
Yeah, appreciate you having me, man.
All right, thanks. That is Landon Knack. There he goes, Dodgers rookie pitcher. Absolute dog on the mound. Killing it for this team, really solidifying this rotation a lot of different ways when they needed it most. I mean, you're talking about a guy that stepped up and always gives you quality. And that's exactly what this rotation needed when you had a ton of injuries this season. I mean, you have Tyler Glasnow, Yamamoto missing time. You have Clayton Kershaw, Walker Buehler, and just so many different pitchers have missed time. Even Gavin Stone, who is the only pitcher to remain on the active roster that made the opening day roster, even he's down. So he's exactly what this Dodgers team needed, and he's been incredibly effective. And I think that it really shines a light on the Dodgers development and also the kind of players they look for. I mean, no ego, right? No, oh, I need to come up and start. I'd be starting for so many players, so many teams around the league. I'd be definitely getting the ball. No, he understands the process with this organization and what it means to be a Dodgers player. And look, I'm telling you right now that with the kind of stuff, the kind of poise, the kind of composure that he has on the mound, and the fact that you're seeing uptick in the strikeouts, the fact that you have that, I think at this point, look, I mean, hopefully everyone gets healthy, but Landon Knack is certainly making an extremely strong case to, if you do have him make a postseason start, I think you're going to feel good about it. I mean, there's just something about this guy, slow heartbeat, has a lot of poise. I think the mindset is right, a very mature player. So I loved Landon Knack. I love a lot of things he said. It's cool to hear what he said about the phenom Paul Skeens and how dominant he was, Dave Roberts' influence on him. So, yeah, maybe we can go a show without a fired Dave Roberts. What do you know? You actually talk to a player, you ask him about Dave Roberts, and he tells you that Dave Roberts deserves a lot of credit for his success. So, look, I wish that I could put all you guys in my pocket and we go to the stadium and go to a game, and you can see how Dave Roberts is when he's not at the podium, when he's not talking to the media. And I'm not saying he's fake or anything like that, but as a manager, you got to be the face of your franchise. You have to be the voice of your franchise because all the questions come through you, and Dave Roberts is incredible at doing that. But also, Dave Roberts is a fiery competitor. He wants to win as bad as anyone. He's just a smart baseball mind, and he wants nothing more than his young players to succeed. So that was really cool to hear that from Landon Knack. And look, the bottom of the line, the key for Knack, as he said in the interview, is commanding the zone, having that slider. That slider is the big difference for a lot of these pitches. You can't come up and be a starter if you're a 2-pitch pitcher. You got to be a 3-4 pitch pitcher. You got to be able to attack guys in different counts and different spots. But we got some comments down below. Tim T, Knack steps up when we need him. Absolutely. He's been that guy for this team. And I love the mindset too. I mean, imagine one day, like he said, you're pitching in OKC, it's AAA, you've already gotten a taste of the show, and you're down there and you're just waiting. You don't know when you're going to get your next call up. And then you come up and you have a 6-inning outing with 8 strikeouts against the Guardians, one of the better lineups in baseball. I mean, that proves you're mentally tough, a very strong-minded pitcher if you can do just that. So very impressed with him. We got Surge DFA 6 says a $5 super chat. I'm going to give a little comment to the show. Dodgers Nation is the best sports channel on the planet. Let's go Dodgers. Love that. Alex Renteria. In Knack we trust. Philip Fountain. I wonder if Knack gets tired of the my Sharona gags. I like that. LSU Jones. Landon Knack is such a stud. Dodger delirium. I was at the game where Jim Tracy intentionally walked Barry Bonds 4 times. Yeah, wasn't that fun? How about the time that Buck Showalter walked Barry Bonds intentionally with the bases loaded? I mean, that's not respect. We got Rebecca, Michelle, David, Landon. You were awesome. Absolutely. So we're going to switch gears a little bit, though. Talk more about Yamamoto. And he broke down Yamamoto's start and just the curveball, the breaking stuff. I asked Yamamoto after the game about his start and what was so important about his pitch mix, and he said it was the breaking ball. And I think for him, it was working the bottom quadrants of the zone, because when he's landing stuff on the corners, on the bottom of the zone, that's when he can elevate. That's when he can go out there and dominate hitters. And that's certainly what he did. And I had someone at the game tell me yesterday that a scout that covers the team, he says that's his postseason splitter. That was his postseason splitter. So the velocity was up, it was almost pumping 98. The velocity was up almost 2 miles per hour on the splitty. And look, there's a reason why I pushed for this guy. There's a reason why this was the very first Dodgers podcast to even utter the name Yoshinobu Yamamoto. And I sat here for months begging the Dodgers to sign this guy. It's because of 2 reasons. The first reason was that you could get an elite starting pitcher with free agency level money in his absolute pre-prime. He's 25 years old. It's a opportunity that it doesn't present itself very often, is that you can get a pitcher of that magnitude at 25. That just does not happen. And he has top shelf stuff. He has world-class stuff. I also told you, Shota Imanaga, he is the discounted Yamamoto. He's not on his tier. And what I say about Imanaga, who also pitched a great game last night, I will say Imanaga definitely showed out and pitched very, very well. It's only the second time in Major League Baseball history that you had 4 Japanese-born players in the starting lineup for both teams. So a historic night. But what happens with Imanaga? The home runs. And I told you, when it heats up, the home runs are going to be coming. He gave up 3 home runs yesterday, 2 to Tommy Edman and 1 to Max Muncy. So what Yamamoto has is he has the ability to dominate hitters at any count, can pitch to some contact as well, can get soft outs, and he was most impressive. And I think what we learned last night is, well, you know what? This rotation is starting to fall in line. This rotation is starting to get where you want it to get to, because now Yamamoto has a lot left in the tank. He looked 100% healthy. Yesterday, he even said he was a little surprised by how good he looked so early on. Maybe he was going to take a couple starts, but he was crisp. The command was there. He was fantastic last night. And now you look at the Dodgers rotation. Yamamoto, he's a ace level game 1 starter that might pitch in game 2 when Tyler Glasnow comes back. And then with the way that Jack Flaherty is pitching, he has ace level stuff. It can go out there and get the job done. So now the Dodgers, with just a couple more weeks, they look like you have a postseason rotation that can win the World Series. Because with this rotation, with this level of talent, paired with the offense that they have, if you have 3 really good starters in the postseason like that, and you have an offense that features Shohei Ohtani and Mookie Betts and Freddie Freeman and Teoscar Hernandez and Will Smith and Max Muncy, you are going to go deep into the postseason. So get excited. I mean, last night exceeded my expectations. I did not expect him to look that good. 8 strikeouts. I mean, 93 mile per hour splitter that just disappears out of the zone. Virtually impossible to hit. Pumping 98 on the outside corner. I mean, when you have a 98, 97 mile per hour heater and you drop it down to a splitter out of the zone, it's incredible. His night as a whole, he gave up 1 run that really should have been an error on Freddie Freeman. That, I mean, the couple of times in the last couple of games, we've seen Freddie back up and try to get a better hop on it, but hasn't been able to get that. But he goes 4 innings, 1 run, 8 punch outs, no walks, 11 whiffs, had a 41 called strike and whip percentage. So Yamamania has begun once again. So let me know down below, what was your grade for Yamamoto's first start? I'm going to give it an A. And it was efficient. The dominance was there. The command was on point. He was absolutely crisp. How about you, Tony Taters? What do you give Yoshinobu Yamamoto's first start? Do you give it an A?
Oh, yeah. Even though he just pitched 4 innings, it was so dominant. Just watching the pitches fall off the table, seeing Cody Bellinger's reaction right there after the strikeout. Almost A+, but it's great to see, and I'm looking forward to seeing that in the postseason as well.
Noel, give me that grade, baby.
I'm going to go A as well. I would have loved to see him pitch more, but I know it's a slow ramp up, and he's just giving us a little taste for now, and then we're going to see it full on in the postseason.
No doubt about it. We are definitely going to see a version of Yamamoto that's built for the postseason. That's what you want to see out of him. He definitely has postseason dominant level stuff. And yeah, I could not be more thrilled by what we saw yesterday. The rotation is falling in line. I think that considering it's his quote unquote rookie season, even though he's played pro baseball in Japan for quite some time, that 2.5, almost 3 month layoff ultimately could work out in the Dodgers' favor. Because I think that had he pitched this entire time, at this point, maybe he does hit a wall. Maybe he does have some fatigue. Maybe he does experience a little bit of a setback. But now he's had time to watch, analyze, get as close to 100% as possible. And now he has 3 more starts to get built up. So at this point, when you look at his first start and where he was after that and how good he looked, there's no reason why Yamamoto, with 3 more starts before the postseason, can't get up to a 6 innings 95. You can build him up and stretch him out to 6 innings, 95 to 100 pitches. Yesterday, he threw 59 pitches yesterday, and he was extremely efficient, and the strikeout stuff was there. The ERA on the season now down to 2.88. So that was good. A big let's go Dodgers for Yoshinobu Yamamoto, but a big down for the disastrous 8th inning. What was that? What was that inning? Lead, and the defense completely collapsed. It was yakety sacks out there. Bad news bears out there. It was ugly for the Dodgers. A 5-run 8th inning, and they never looked back. They never looked back. And we're going to break down this inning. So after pitching a scoreless 7th inning, Alex Vesia was back to start the 8th. And first and foremost, didn't love the idea of Alex Vesia being back out there for the 8th inning. But first batter he faced, he issued a 4-pitch walk to Ian Happ. Then Dave Roberts, he gets the ball, and then enters Evan Phillips. So Evan Phillips comes into the game, no outs, runner on first pitch to Swanson, and he reaches on an error by Austin Barnes. And Austin Barnes has to make that throw. His little tapper right in front of home plate, he fields it, and he makes an errant throw that pulls Freddie off the bag, and the runner was safe. And if you're Austin Barnes, the bat has been better, but that's an inexcusable, unacceptable defensive play. As a backup catcher, you're not going to get that many opportunities. So when you're in there, you got to do the fundamental things. And for a team that is a World Series contender, you don't want to build those bad habits. You want to respect the game of baseball. Like Ned Colletti used to say, it's about the presentation. The presentation was an F in that 8th inning defensively. So then after the error by Austin Barnes, next batter, Seiya Suzuki on a 2-2 count, he singled to center. That scored Happ to make it 3-2 Cubs. And then after the throwing error by Tommy Edman, Swanson came around to score, and that tied at 3. So the Dodgers, actually the 3-2 Dodgers, Cubs pull within 1. And then thanks to that throwing error by Tommy Edman, Swanson came around to score to make it 3-3. So just like that, the game's tied. You get 2 runs right there. It should have been at least 1 run after that Seiya Suzuki single. And Tommy Edman, that's a play that he makes 999 times out of 1,000. He just missed the throw. It was fluky, throwing it to no man's land there between shortstop and third base. And they get another run because of it. And just like that, boom, we're tied. And it's the 8th inning. And then, Cody Bellinger at the plate. They elect to intentionally walk him. And then Evan Phillips, next batter, he bounces back. He strikes out Isaac Paredes. Then you got Michael Busch at the plate. And runners on first and second. He grounds into what should have been a fielder's choice at second. And this time, Kike Hernandez, he decides to try to simultaneously field it and tag the lead runner, Cody Bellinger, at the same time. But he was missing one thing, and that was the baseball. He wasn't able to field that ball. And it ends up being another error. Suzuki scores on the error. And then the Cubs, they go up ahead 4-3. Very next battle, Nico Horner. Phillips falls behind the count 2-0. Then later on the 8th pitch of the at-bat, 3-2. Nico Horner, he doubled to left. Belly came around to score. That made it 5-3 Cubs. And then Crow Armstrong. By the way, Crow Armstrong, this guy, 99th percentile in sprint speed. 30 feet per second. Man was flying out in the outfield. But I will say, though, those weren't rob jobs. MLB. I saw those tweets saying they were rob jobs. Those weren't rob jobs, okay? The ball has to be going over the fence. Social media, MLB, come on now. Watch the play. Do better. Those are rob jobs. Great catches, not rob jobs. And then with Crow Armstrong, he grounded second. That scored Michael Busch, and the Cubs, they played another run to go up 6-3. So, look, bad defense. Evan Phillips wasn't at his best, and he wasn't putting away hitters. He was behind the count 2-0 to Suzuki, behind the count 2-0 to Horner. He was 3 for 8 on first pitch strikes. So it wasn't the best Evan Phillips night, but I do think that he should have gotten a clean inning there, and you shouldn't have had Alex Vesia in that situation. And look, the truth of the matter is this game going to determine whether or not the Dodgers win or lose the World Series? No, it isn't. And yes, it's one game out of a 162 game season, but still, you got to take pride in the little things and just defensive lapses by good defensive players. Kike, Edman, Barnes. Those are all guys that will be the first to tell you that they should have made those plays. And sure, it is just one game. But if you look at the standings right now, Phillies 87-58. They're a game up on the Dodgers. The Dodgers sitting at 86-59, a game back, and you got the tiebreaker situation there. So who knows? Who knows? I mean, does this lead to not having home field advantage in the NLCS? Some people think that's overrated. I personally am of the belief that it is not. You want to have that. So yeah, just an ugly loss. And two, just not a lot of opportunities on offense too. I mean, first game they go 2 for 7 with runners in scoring position. And even that, you're basically relying on home runs. Mookie hit the 2-run shot. And then yesterday, didn't do very 0 for 3 with runners in scoring position. 0 for 3 with RISP. Okay, that's not going to get it done. You need to create more opportunities. The at-bat quality wasn't good. And yes, you're going up against a talented pitcher in Imanaga. But the night before, you're going up against the worst pitcher in baseball as far as starters go in Hendricks. So just an ugly loss in a series that really should at the very least be tied 1-1. The Dodgers should be up potentially as well, but not a good night for the Dodgers. I mean, I saw everyone out there, Yamamoto jerseys. By the way, man, I was walking around, I was sitting down in one of the sections, and those big hat things, those Dodgers, have you seen those Dodgers big hats?
I think so.
Bro, if I saw someone in the dugout club with one of those.
Really?
Bro, if I drop $500 to $1,000 on a ticket and I sit down and my man in front of me has one of those big lids,
Blocking your view.
that's going away so fast. I'm flicking that thing off, man. I'd be furious. I don't know about you guys. What would you do if you sit down and you got a dude in front of you wearing one of those big Dodgers hats? Those should be illegal, man. I mean, come on.
Blocking the view after you got off work, picked up the fam, went over there, and then now you got a big. I think it's called a noggin boss.
A noggin boss.
Noggin boss. That's what they're calling
a noggin boss. There you go.
Boss.
Hey,
Yeah.
not a sponsor of the show, by the way.
I'd be absolutely livid if that were the case.
I mean, come on now. I mean, they're fun. I like little. I think they're fun. They're definitely fun. But I mean, I just feel bad. I mean, dude's right behind me trying to say. I'm like, come on now. Like, we can't be having that.
Especially in the dugout club, man. That's a brutal one.
That's a dugout club, man. That's a dugout club, man. You're either you're already rich, you're famous, or you dropped a big bag. Maybe you kind of like overspent to impress a girl, like early in a relationship. I don't know. Speaking of relationships, I mean, how about Anthony Banda? And we're going to talk about that next. So Anthony Banda, who's been phenomenal for the Dodgers this season. The Dodgers got him from the Guardians for cash considerations. And by the way, we got some grades here for Yamamoto. Carl gives him an A. Val gives him a B+. Mosquito gives him an A. Craig Osterberg, A+. Kelly Oshiro, A+. Rebecca, A. Yama was filthy last night, so I love those. Give some fire takes right there. But we got to talk about Anthony Banda. So after the game, we're in the press room, the media room, the interview room. You got everyone talking about Yamamoto in this loss. And I'm just thinking to myself, wait a minute. Is it me? Or did the Dodgers announce an hour before the game that Anthony Banda was going on the IL for a left hand fracture? It just felt like it came out of nowhere. It came as a little bit of a shock. So I asked Dave Roberts about it, and here's what Dave had to say.
And then, Dave, before the game, you placed Anthony Banda on the IL with a left hand fracture. Any more on that?
Yeah, it's a hairline fracture, fortunately. Unfortunately, it's his throwing hand. And I don't know, when he's going to return, but obviously it's an IL situation, and it's going to be, a few days I think it's a few days without throwing, and then hopefully we can build him back. And, the hope is to get him back at some point in time this year. It was a moment of weakness and frustration where he decided to take on a solid object that ultimately won the battle. So it was something that emotions kind of played into it, with the outing that he had last night, and it's something I know he regrets. We all regret, and he'll learn from it.
So first, you lose Anthony Banda, and then what does Dave tell us? That he essentially, he didn't say it, I'm paraphrasing here, but he struck his hand. He definitely punched something. We don't know what he punched. He wouldn't reveal that. But he did punch something. He said he had a hairline fracture, that he decided to take on a solid object that ultimately won the battle. It's something he regrets. I'll never understand this. All you have to do is just punch with the other hand. Nuke Lelouch, Crash Davis, bar scene in Bull Durham. What happened in that situation? Nuke Lelouch, he punches Kevin Costner, Crash Davis, And the first thing that Crash Davis asks Nuke LaLoosh is, hey, you didn't use your pitching hand, right? That's the only thing that matters. You don't do it. That's your commodity. You do not do that. I mean, I just don't understand that. I mean, I get it. It's competitor, and it's definitely something that's bothersome because of the way he's pitched of late, and he did not have a good outing. But Anthony Banda, what are you guys' thoughts on that? And look, I hopefully he can come back and help this team in some capacity, because you might need more than one lefty reliever coming out of that pen. But he's on the 15-day IL with that fractured left hand. And it was supposed to be Brusdar Graterol today. They were going to activate Brusdar Graterol today, but they moved it up a day because of the injury to Anthony Banda. And Bond is going to be down from throwing for a couple of days, and we just don't know when he's going to return. We do not have a timetable for when he's going to be back because we are so late in the season. We don't know how that's going to impact him on the mound. The earliest he could be back for the Dodgers, technically, based on his 15-day IL status, is September 25th. So that's not going to leave him a lot of time, even if he does return, to get back in there and get back into the swing of things before the postseason, and frankly, make his case that he deserves to be on this postseason roster. Because I think what Banda has working against him is A, the obvious one, the injury, but B, the fact that he wasn't pitching well because of what led to the injury, the frustration, right? His effectiveness of late led to the frustration, but led to the injury. And I think a lot of that had to do with the fatigue. I mean, you look at how much he's pitched for the Dodgers this season. So just a rewind, Banda, he started the year with the Guardians, and he was on a minor league deal, but the Dodgers traded for him on May 17th. A few days later, they activated him, and since then, he's been great for this team all year. He's pitched in 46 games. That's tied for the 6th most in all of Major League Baseball this season. I mean, that's wild how much he's pitched for the Dodgers. He's posted a 3.23 ERA, a 3.44 expected ERA, and 47 1/3 innings, 50 strikeouts, 12 walks. So it's unfortunate, but you look lately, last 4 games, 3 2/3 innings, he's allowed 7 runs on 10 hits, just 2 strikeouts, 2 walks, a 17.18 ERA, opponents with a 13.46 OPS. So this has been building up, is my point here. That this just wasn't, I had one bad appearance. No, 4 games, it's a small sample size, especially when you compare it to his first 42 games. And I think that definitely needs to be repeated here. I see a lot of people today talking about Anthony Banda, talking down on Anthony Banda, how quickly they forget. First 42 games of the season, 43 2/3 innings. He allowed 10 runs on 34 hits, had 48 strikeouts, 16 walks, and a 2.06 ERA. So first 42 games, a 2.06 ERA. Last 4 games, a 17.18 ERA. The OPS against, first 42, 602. Last 4, 13.46. Now, you have seen the opponent's batting average go up month by month. May it was 143, June 180, July 260, August 273, September 462. But still, even though it has been a mixed bag of late, overall he's been extremely productive, especially when you look at the value that he provided when you acquire him through cash consideration. So, I mean, he's kind of one of those, hey, where would this bullpen be without Anthony Banda? He's kind of falls in that category. For the rotation, is where would the Dodgers rotation be without Gavin Stone? For the bullpen, it's where would this bullpen be without Anthony Banda? So everyone is going to talk down you. Everyone is going to judge you for your emotions getting the best of you in that situation. Anthony Banda, I'm here to tell you, I've got your back, and get healthy. Hopefully he can get back and he can help this team. I don't know if any of you out there remember Joe Beimel, though. Joe Beimel, I know Tony Taters does, but the Joe Beimel situation, that's the first thing that popped into my head, because they're both lefties, and everyone was wondering that year, wait a minute, why isn't Joe Beimel on the playoff roster? And it turned out that Joe Beimel had cut his hand on broken glass in a New York bar.
Yeah, man, come on.
You remember the Joe Beimel situation, right?
Good old 97, dude. Come on.
Hey.
Jeez.
So he's our modern day Joe Beimel. but at least it didn't take place at a bar. You know, I mean, in New
I don't know
York.
that yet, dude.
Yeah,
Just kidding.
yeah.
Just kidding.
I talked to some people.
Not joking.
I think I know where it happened, but yeah. So get better, Anthony Banda. But let me know down below in the comment section. Jose Aguirre says Banda punched and broke his hand. Yeah, Barnes can hit, can field, and can't call a game. Alex Renteria and Nando 390. Andy Pajes should be optioned for getting picked off like that. That's the thing. You got guys getting picked off. You have errors. It's just not a good game. I mean, the story today should be, oh my God, the Dodgers have an ace in Yamamoto. The Dodgers have someone that's ready to put this team on his back as a rookie and be lights out in the postseason. But no, it was a bad game by the Dodgers. Now, a couple more updates. Tony Gonsolin, the Cat Man, back last night, 2 scoreless innings in his debut for the 2024 season for AAA Oklahoma City. So, hey, that's a good night. Tony Gonsolin, 2 scoreless frames in his 2024 debut for AAA OKC. Good to see him back out on the mound. And I think the Tony Gonsolin conversation right now is if he's pitching for the Dodgers, a lot of things went wrong. A lot of things happened that derailed this season. Talking about lots of injuries. And Dave Roberts told us after the game, I think it was a great outcome for him and for us potentially. He put in a lot of hard work, is sort of raising the floor on next year and building somewhat of a foundation. And if there's a crazy scenario where he's called on in 24 and it makes sense, great. But for him to be able to take these steps, it's a compliment to him and the whole training crew. So yeah, I think that's the best point in that he can head in the offseason getting game action and getting his feet wet and going into the 2025 season in a better position. Because remember, he signed that multi-year deal. He did make $5 million this season. And if you look at his timeline, very similar to Walker Buehler's as far as when he had the Tommy John, when he was looking to make his comeback, and Buehler never came back. For Tony Gonsolin, he had Tommy John surgery on September 1st of last season, and he was back on the mound. Give myself a bruh. Yesterday, September 10th, 2024. So Dave also said, I've talked to Tony. I think he understands how unlikely it might be, but for him to be building up and having that playoff mindset that if he's called upon to be ready, that's a win. For him to have that carrot out there as motivation, that's totally upside. So yeah, I totally agree. If you're Tony Gonsolin, you wake up every day thinking that you're going to pitch Game 7 of the World Series. That's how you have to head into these starts to get the most out of them. So it's definitely good news. Definitely really, really good news to see Tony Gonsolin make his way back. Do I think he's going to be back for the Dodgers this season? I do not. And if he does, I'm going to be upset about a lot of different things at that point, and they'll be related to injuries. I mean, we just had Landon Knack on the show. Landon Knack deserves an opportunity before that. So I'm glad he's back, but let's pump the brakes. I mean, Brandon Gomes, the Dodgers GM, also poured some cold water on that idea as well. And also, look, let's just be frank here. He hasn't had a ton of postseason success either. So to thrust him into that situation, I don't think that makes a lot of sense, because that's the last thing you want is to have some success, make it through Tommy John, and then you get pounded into the postseason. You have to spend the whole offseason agonizing about that. So yeah, great that he's back. And it's great that for the Dodgers. Now, Tyler Glasnow, we got one back. We got one of the Infinity Stones back yesterday in Yamamoto. One of the biggest Infinity Stones is Santa Clarita's finest, Tyler Glasnow. And the big question is, when is he going to be back, and how much can you stretch him out? How much can you ramp him up? Could it be 4, 5, or 6 innings? At this point, you just have to hope for the best. 4 or 5 innings. Well, yesterday, Dave told us that Tyler Glasnow is going to pitch in a sim game, and he was feeling really good after the bullpen, and he's going to be facing hitters when the Dodgers travel to Atlanta to take on the Braves, and he could be back by next week. So that definitely is positive news. He's got to face hitters for 2, 3 innings, bounce back well from that, and then you just continue the build-up process. And you continue the process of facing big league hitters in big league games. So it's clear, though, that there's no setbacks at this point. The bullpens have continued to get better and better as far as the velocity, as far as how he feels afterward. And I think that these are calculated. I truly do. I truly do think that these are calculated, and that look how Yamamoto looked when he returned yesterday. I think he was out the perfect amount of time to step back in, 4 starts, give him a build-up. Glasnow, preferably, it'd be the same, but Glasnow didn't miss as much time as Yamamoto, and Glasnow is experienced too. He's not a rookie. He has dealt with injuries. He's had Tommy John surgery. He knows what he needs to get back up to speed. So that is a big, big plus. Tyler Glasnow is trending the right direction. He's going to face hitters in Atlanta. We're going to see him back in that rotation pretty soon. And that means you got Glasnow, Yamamoto, and Jack Flaherty, and we'll figure out the 4th guy. And speaking of the 4th guy, that could be Clayton Kershaw. We don't know. It's possible. It's a toe injury. I don't know if you've seen the footage, but he's out there in the bullpen, and he's got that leg on a folded out chair with his knee up on the chair, and he's still throwing. So that definitely is positive, because he said that the arm still feels really good, and it's just dealing with the toe and the push off of the rubber. So if he can get that figured out, maybe, just maybe, he can have a role for this team in the postseason. But yesterday we were in Hawthorne for the breaking of the ground. They broke ground on another dream field. They're up to 64, 65 dream fields at this point. This time it was in Hawthorne, and Clayton Kershaw was out there to support the event. Here was Kersh talking about what baseball means as far as being bigger than baseball, and how much he takes away from these special moments, giving back to the community. So, like I said on Twitter, he's a GOAT on the mound, GOAT off the mound. Baseball, you need more Clayton Kershaws.
And you guys said bigger than baseball on 3. Just kind of describe what that means.
Yeah, it just means that, baseball is kind of in our mantra at Kershaw's Challenge, is that baseball is an incredible platform that I've been given to affect a lot of people, and the same thing for kids. Like, baseball is just a sport. We might not find the next Mookie or Freddie or Shohei out here, but you never know. You might, and even if you don't, you have these kids being able to be out here, and it's just more importantly what they're not doing by being here. They're doing something positive for themselves, being a part of a team, creating something for themselves, and who knows if they play baseball beyond 12 years old, but if they don't, at least they have the memories. Because I remember playing baseball with my friends from 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12, and it's a special time in a kid's life, and for them to have something to do during that time is really cool.
And Clayton, you've been a part of these for a long, long time, and you've seen the development, evolution of the dream fields and everything. How much of a boost of that does that give you, just seeing these kids and just the energy that brings you in your career?
Yeah, I mean, the groundbreaking is really fun, but coming back 6 months later and seeing like the first game played, and seeing the first teams being out here and the kids having fun and smiling, like that makes it all worth it, So I think obviously there's a lot of work and commitment from a lot of different people and different groups to be able to make that happen, but once you see that and see the fields being utilized is really awesome.
So there he goes, Clayton Kershaw, a Roberto Clemente Award winner for all the work that he's done throughout his career, all his philanthropic efforts. By the way, Mookie was just nominated for one. So it's great to see these Dodgers players giving back. And I'm telling you that as a high character guys, those are the guys get signed long-term for this organization. Long-term dudes, they definitely have a different tool in them, and that's definitely giving back. So Clayton Kershaw, it's completely genuine. It's completely authentic. It's not some PR move. He doesn't need that at this stage of his career. He's out there giving back because he wants to do it. And we also talked to some Dodgers fans yesterday, which was really cool. We're going to run that a little later. But let me know down below in the comment section, what are your thoughts on Tyler Glasnow, Yamamoto, Anthony Banda? You guys talking about Anthony Banda. Carl says Banda has been showing signs of being susceptible recently, so maybe he needs a timeout anyway. That's from Carl. Craig Osterberg says, hi. Hope Catman takes lessons from Yamamoto on his splitter. Steven Chavez. The difference, though, is that Yamamoto's splitter is really a true splitter as far as its velocity goes, hitting 92, 93, 90 sometimes, but Gonsolin's is a split change, a little different pitch there that hovers around the mid-80s and a little lower. Alex Ransbury, a broken hand in September. He's not coming back. Jose, now D-Mac doesn't want to say Torta, LMAO. What, Jose? I'd say Torta. I love Torta. I mean, I haven't had one in a couple days, so I'm probably gonna go for lunch to get one. There's a really good place, a tour place in Highland Park. Probably gonna go there after the show. We got Alex Renteria. What happened to the 8th inning? Is it unacceptable? You cannot play like that if you have World Series aspirations. Yeah, certainly not an entire series or game, and you just want to practice good habits. William Andrews, thoughts on David Ortiz comments about Shohei. It's David Ortiz. It's David Ortiz, and he's going to say things. And the truth of the matter is, David Ortiz never had this level of season that Shohei Ohtani's having at the DH spot. That's the truth of the matter, is that if you want to win the MVP special, what could that be? I don't know. Maybe be just the 6th person ever to go 40-40. And I don't know, maybe be the first player ever to go 43-43, 45-45, and then 50-50. That's special. David Ortiz was a really, really good player. There's no doubt about it. But, I mean, none of those seasons were special to the point where you could say, okay, I feel good about getting an MVP. So I'll do a deeper dive into that tomorrow if you guys want. But, yeah, the truth of the matter is, it's David Ortiz. You got to give him credit for having his opinion. But some of the things he did say, he said, the MLB always had issues not to give me the MVP because I was a designated hitter. I'm going to see what they're going to say this year when Ohtani, the pretty girl of MLB, is in the race. Those are some harsh words because, I mean, it's not that he's just a pretty girl. And sure, if you want to say that, that's fine because he is the face of Major League Baseball. Guess what? David Ortiz, you never were. Big Papi was a really good player, but he was never the face of baseball. And if you look at the seasons he's having, I mean, he's already having a 7-WAR season, and he makes up for it with the stolen bases. He makes up for it with the power and the historic numbers that he's putting up. Whereas David Ortiz, I mean, if you look at the years that he had, I mean, 2007, monster year, 6.3 F-WAR. But, I mean, outside of that, I mean, you're looking at like a lot of 5, 4 F-WAR seasons. So yeah, I mean, I'm gonna definitely spend a whole segment on that tomorrow. But that's gonna do it for this episode of Dodgers Dugout Live. My name is Doug McKain. You can follow me on X and Instagram at DMac_LA. If you haven't yet, be sure to subscribe to the Dodgers Nation YouTube channel. Hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell, hit that like button. Remember, nothing brings together quite like Dodger baseball. And until next time, think blue, bleed blue.